Okay, let's unpack this. Why is it so incredibly difficult to be healthy? I mean, we all know the list, right?
Yeah, the shoulds: eat more veggies, move more, sleep enough, maybe stop smoking. Sounds straightforward.
And yet, when you actually look at the global picture, the reality is, well, it's starkly different.
It really is. The data the source shares is pretty eye-opening. Adult diabetes rates, they nearly doubled between 1980 and 2014, went from about 4.7% to 8.5%.
Wow.
And obesity, more than tripled worldwide since 75. Here in the U.S., it's like over a third of adults living with it.
So, yeah, just knowing the checklist clearly isn't cutting it. This deep dive is really for anyone who feels that disconnect. You know what you should do, but actually doing it consistently, that's the struggle.
Exactly. We're diving into understanding why these health behaviors feel so challenging, and maybe more importantly, giving you some practical tools to build up the willingness to do the hard stuff.
We're pulling from a really insightful source here, the book Healthy Habits Suck.
Yeah, what I really appreciate about it is how compassionate it is, but also science-based. It's packed with clinical examples and, the author's own very candid personal experience.
And the core premise is just so validating, isn't it? It points out that most health behaviors actually go against our natural instincts.
Totally. Think about it.
Yeah.
An apple versus apple pie. Which one does your ancient brain get more excited about?
The pie. Sugar, yeah, easy choice for the old brain.
Every time. Or lie on the couch versus going for a run. The brain is hardwired for the path of least resistance.
It makes so much sense when you put it that way.
Right. Our evolutionary programming, it's all about survival. Avoid pain, seek pleasure, take the easy route, get those immediate rewards, health behaviors. They flip that script completely.
How so?
Well, they often require discomfort, right?
Right.
Avoiding immediate pleasure, taking the difficult path, and living for some future payoff that might be years away. From an evolutionary standpoint, as the source notes, these behaviors are downright abnormal.
Abnormal. That's a powerful reframing right there. But it doesn't mean we're doomed, does it?
No, absolutely not,
Exactly.
because we override our instincts all the time.
Like not yelling at that annoying driver or getting out of bed when it's freezing cold.
Exactly. Or putting money into savings instead of buying something fun right now. That's our frontal lobe at work, that more recently evolved part of the brain. Executive functions, planning, delaying gratification.
It can override those older instinctual messages.
It absolutely can. But, and this is key, the source really emphasizes it takes deliberate effort. It's not effortless or automatic for anyone.
And speaking of not effortless, one of the most compelling parts of the source is the author's own story. She's incredibly open about struggling herself.
Yeah, gaining 40 pounds during a really stressful period. She talks about exercising 6 days a week, brutal boot camps, running and actually gaining weight.
Gaining, despite all that.
Zero weight loss. She even had body fat tests to confirm it wasn't just muscle buildup.
Yeah.
She describes the humility of being an obesity treatment provider while being 40 pounds overweight herself.
Wow.
So this isn't someone telling you what you should do from some ivory tower. She field tested these techniques on herself. She admits she'd much rather be on the couch eating ice cream. She's genuinely in the trenches with you.
That makes such a difference. So our mission in this deep dive is to pull out the most important insights and practical skills from this source.
Right. We want to help you truly understand why healthy habits feel so hard and then increase your willingness to do them anyway.
By connecting them to what genuinely matters to you in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's start by digging into why being healthy is essentially hardwired to feel like, well, like it sucks.
Okay, that core conflict you mentioned, instinct versus intention, that feels like the absolute foundation.
It really is. Our ancient brain's prime directives: avoid pain, seek pleasure, easy path, immediate gratification. Makes perfect sense for survival when food was scarce and dangers were lurking.
Spot some high-calorie food, eat it all now, don't know when the next meal is coming.
Precisely. See a threat. Run or freeze. Feel tired. Rest. Conserve that precious energy. These were smart survival strategies back then.
Which is why behaviors like hitting the gym when you're tired or opting for a salad over fries.
Or saying no to dessert.
Yeah,
They feel like fighting your own biology, don't they?
totally. They require leaning into discomfort, avoiding that immediate pleasure hit, choosing the difficult path.
And trusting in some abstract future reward. That's the hard part.
And that's where the frontal lobe comes in, allowing us to make those intentional choices against instinct.
But that override, it requires conscious, deliberate effort every time.
Okay, let's unpack a really powerful and often painful cultural myth this source tackles: the weight myth.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The whole calories in, calories out. Oversimplification. The idea that if you just try harder, you'll control your weight.
It's everywhere.
And it's so damaging. The source makes it crystal clear. While we can influence weight, we don't have direct control. It's way more complex than simple math.
What kind of factors are we talking about?
Oh, tons of things, largely outside individual control. Your genetics, for starters. Factors from your parents before you were even born, like maternal weight gain, whether you were breastfed.
Really? Before birth?
Yeah. Hormones play a huge role. Cortisol, ghrelin, leptin. Your sleep quality and duration. Even your environment. Is your neighborhood walkable? What's your access to affordable, healthy food versus, fast food everywhere?
Even your job type can make a difference.
Exactly. Which raises a really important question. If so much is uncontrollable or heavily influenced by stuff beyond our immediate reach, why do we carry so much self-blame?
That's a great question.
It loops back to that problem-solving brain, doesn't it? Wanting to fix something it sees as wrong. And it's fueled by this culture that often equates weight with, like, moral failing or lack of discipline.
But the source emphasizes that major medical associations, like the American and Canadian medical associations, they actually define obesity as a chronic disease.
Right? Like diabetes or high blood pressure. It requires long-term management, not some quick fix. And it's certainly not proof of a character flaw. And focusing only on the number on the scale, that can actually derail progress.
How so?
Well, you see it in the client examples. Claire stopped exercising completely because it didn't lead to weight loss on the scale. She missed out on all the other health benefits.
Right, the non-weight stuff.
And then there was Evelyn. She hit her goal weight and then just stopped all the behaviors because she thought she was done. In both cases, whether the scale moves or not, focusing on that outcome undermined the behaviors she actually needed long-term.
And then there's metabolic adaptation. That sounds serious.
It is. The Biggest Loser study is the classic example. Contestants lost massive amounts of weight, right? But their metabolism slowed down drastically and, crucially, stayed slow years later.
So it made weight regain almost inevitable.
Incredibly likely, yes. Your body's systems evolved to prevent starvation. They're working exactly as designed. In our modern food-rich environment, that same design makes gaining weight an adaptive response.
Wow, okay. So if direct weight control is largely out of our hands, and it's a chronic management issue,
Right.
what's the takeaway? What do we do?
This leads straight to the solution shift the source advocates for. Behaviors are the goal.
Focus on the process, not just the outcome.
Exactly. You can control if you eat a serving of vegetables today. Working harder at eating vegetables actually works. Working harder at losing weight. That can just add stress and frustration, which ironically can be counterproductive with cortisol and stuff.
And all those behaviors, exercise, eating well, sleeping better, they give you significant health benefits regardless of what the scale says. Improving insulin sensitivity, reducing inflammation.
Absolutely. And for people who do lose weight and keep it off, consistency with those behaviors is key for maintenance. The National Weight Control Registry studies folks who've successfully kept weight off long-term.
What do they find?
They consistently find these people maintain specific behaviors, like daily exercise and being mindful about their diet. It's the behaviors that matter.
So, okay, if managing health long-term is probably going to suck sometimes because it fights our basic instincts, why bother? Why do the behaviors?
And the source's answer, this is really a core insight, is because these behaviors help you live according to your values, what truly matters to you.
Okay, linking it to values, how does that help?
It's incredibly powerful for motivation. Research backs this up. Linking behavior change to deeply held values increases motivation and persistence. Makes the hard stuff feel worthwhile.
The author uses her own plant-based diet as an example, right? It wasn't just health.
Exactly. A major motivator for her is her value of reducing her climate change impact. That connection makes the difficult choice easier because it serves something bigger than just herself.
That makes sense.
Or the client who connected getting on the treadmill, not just to weight loss, but to her fierce value of independence. That resonated deeply.
That's much more compelling.
And remember the client who wanted to quit drinking. Her first reason was do laundry. Kind of superficial, right? Unlikely to sustain change.
Yeah, probably not.
But the deeper value, it was being more social. Wanting to be present and engaged with her friends, that is a value worth doing hard things for.
It puts it in perspective, doesn't it? We do difficult things for our values all the time.
Absolutely. Getting out of bed for a job you value, cleaning up after a sick kid because you value being a good parent, caring for an aging relative.
Healthy behaviors are just another category of difficult actions we can choose to take in service of something that really matters to us.
Exactly. And to actually do these behaviors consistently, setting goals you can control is crucial. The source introduces this idea of the choice point.
What's that?
It's asking, is the healthy behavior you're aiming for something you can actually choose and do in the moment? Losing 5 pounds isn't a choice point,
Right, you can't just decide to lose 5 pounds right now.
but walking for 20 minutes is a choice point. You can choose to do it or not. Focusing on controllable behaviors is key.
This sounds like it directly addresses that feeling of learned helplessness.
It does. That feeling of giving up because you've tried and failed so many times, you feel like nothing you do matters. The source says undoing that takes many experiences of success, like nearly 10 times more successes than failures.
10 times. Okay, so how do you guarantee success?
This is where the 90% rule comes in. It's brilliant. Set goals you are 90% sure you can accomplish.
90% sure, not 50, not 75, 90.
Right, this almost guarantees success. And success breeds success. It builds momentum. It chips away at that helplessness.
The example of Samantha struggling with calorie counting was great for this. Trying to record everything felt impossible.
Totally overwhelming. So her 90% goal, just record on Mondays, that felt doable.
And once that felt easy,
She added Tuesdays. That's shaping. You string together a series of these achievable 90% goals to gradually reach a larger behavior. It might feel slow.
but as the source says, failure gets you nowhere faster.
Exactly. And the client vacation example, that really highlights the power of this in challenging situations.
Yeah, her original goal was don't binge, which she knew she probably couldn't stick to. Violated the 90% rule.
Right. So she shifted to a 90% achievable do instead goal, like focusing on increasing veggies, protein, and water each day.
So even if she did binge sometimes, she could still meet her other goal.
Yes, she could still have a success despite the binging. She made a deliberate choice for a manageable behavior, which felt way better than feeling like a total failure.
Okay, so we've explored why it's hard. Now let's get into the how. How do you navigate your inner world, the thoughts, the feelings to actually do these behaviors, even when you really don't want to?
Right. Managing the internal stuff. A fantastic framework for this, which the source draws heavily from acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, is the passengers on the bus metaphor.
Okay, paint the picture.
You're the bus driver. You're passengers. They're your thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, memories, all that internal stuff.
And oh boy, are they bossy and annoying sometimes, yelling instructions from the back.
Totally. You're too tired. You'll fail anyway. Look how much better everyone else is doing. This won't work. Just give up.
Yeah,
All that noise.
where does that come from?
Well, remember, many of those passenger thoughts, they stem from that old cave person brain, genuinely trying to keep you safe by discouraging anything new, unfamiliar, or challenging. It prefers the known, even if it's uncomfortable. The devil you do know is better idea.
But the really liberating insight here is you don't need your passengers' permission or consensus to drive the bus.
Exactly. You can hear them yelling back there, acknowledge them, and still choose to stay on your chosen route. The source gives that simple exercise. Try saying, I'm too tired to lift my arm, while actually lifting your arm.
You can do it. The thought doesn't control the action.
Precisely. The skill is acknowledging the passengers. Okay, I hear you two, you're tired, without letting them grab the steering wheel. You can mentally thank them for sharing and politely continue driving, like a bus driver sticking to their route, despite passenger complaints.
Okay, that makes sense for thoughts. What about feelings? Emotions can feel just as loud and demanding, sometimes more so.
Definitely. The source explains feelings, which come from our limbic system, are basically just messengers. They deliver information, danger, loss, frustration.
But our problem-solving brain doesn't like the uncomfortable messages.
No, it immediately tries to fix or get rid of uncomfortable feelings. And that often leads us straight to those unhealthy habits as a quick, temporary relief. Eating chocolate when stressed, having a drink when bored.
And this is reinforced culturally, isn't it? We get the message we should be able to control how we feel.
Oh, absolutely. The source's Shark Tank analogy is perfect. Imagine you're in a dunk tank over a shark tank. If you feel anxious, you drop in. Could you choose not to feel anxious in that situation?
Probably not.
Right. Yet we think we should be able to just flip a switch on our emotions.
And we're often taught to ignore or push down feelings, even with good intentions.
Yeah. Think about telling a crying child, you're fine, or a tough coach yelling, shake it off. It can teach us that feelings are bad or weak, that we should suppress them, but that often just makes them come back stronger or leak out in unhealthy ways.
So what's the alternative?
Acceptance. And the source is really careful to define this. It doesn't mean liking the feeling or wanting it. It's more like a willingness to take what is given, to make space for the feeling without fighting it,
Less like a truce where you're just tolerating it.
and more like a peace treaty. You're welcoming it, allowing it to be there because it is there.
The unwelcome party guest analogy, or Brian, was good for this.
Yeah. If you spend all your energy trying to keep Brian, the unwanted feeling, out of the party, your life, you miss the whole party. But if you let Brian in, make space for him, maybe he just sits in the corner, and you can still mingle and enjoy the party. Accepting feelings allows you to keep living your life.
Okay, so how do we practice actually making space for these difficult feelings?
The source suggests a couple of key skills. One is checking in on your feelings. Just periodically pausing throughout your day, noticing what physical sensations are present in your body. Be curious. Be kind.
Like checking on a puppy.
Exactly. The puppy metaphor works well. Unattended feelings, like an unattended puppy, can cause disaster, not because they're inherently bad, but because they need some gentle attention. Checking in lets the feelings arrive in smaller, more manageable ways instead of a sudden tsunami.
And the feeling object idea.
That's another good one. You imagine the difficult feeling, say, anxiety is a physical object. Maybe it's a heavy ball, maybe it's a buzzing cloud. Then with each breath, you imagine making space around that object inside you. The goal isn't to make the object disappear, but to create room for it. To recognize this feeling is a part of you right now, but not the whole of you.
Building on this, gaining perspective seems really important. That's where mindfulness comes in.
Yes, mindfulness is key for gaining that observer perspective. The weather metaphor is a great starting point. Feelings are like the weather. They're unpredictable. They're always changing.
If you don't like the weather in New England, wait 10 minutes.
Exactly. You can't control the rain, but you can buy rain gear and still go about your day. Sometimes, as the source mentions with the friend in Tornado Alley, you just have to find shelter and wait out the storm safely. You live life despite the weather.
And the "you are the blue sky" metaphor takes it further.
I love that one, inspired by Russ Harris. Feelings are the temporary weather storms, clouds, sunshine passing through. You are the vast, unchanging blue sky. Even the worst storm doesn't damage the sky itself, and it eventually passes. Feelings don't fundamentally damage you, and they will pass. The goal is to be that spacious sky, allowing feelings to come and go without getting swept away.
So you don't need those unhealthy coping mechanisms quite so much.
Right. And that connects directly to the core of mindfulness. Observing your thoughts and feelings without getting tangled up in them.
The classic ACT exercise, leaves on a stream, illustrates this well.
It does. You imagine placing your thoughts onto leaves floating down a gentle stream. You just watch them drift by. You're not trying to push them away or change them, just observing their movement. If your mind wanders, you gently notice and bring your attention back to the stream.
The weather forecaster idea is another good perspective tool.
Yeah. Are you the reporter standing in the hurricane, getting battered by the wind and rain, lost in your feelings? Or are you the forecaster back in the studio, observing the storm's path on the map from a safe distance? Practice being the forecaster. You can see thoughts as passing clouds or freight cars or items on a conveyor belt, just observing them in motion.
Mindfulness also helps ground us in the present moment, right? Our minds love to wander.
Oh, constantly. Into the past, regretting that ice cream you ate, or into the future, worrying about the upcoming Thanksgiving dinner. This pulls us out of the only time we actually live in right now and creates a lot of unnecessary distress.
Like the client worried about transplant failure before he even had the transplant?
Exactly. Mindfulness gently brings you back to the here and now. What's actually happening in this moment?
A simple practice skill mentioned is adding that phrase, "I notice I'm having the thought that."
Yes. I notice I'm having the thought that I'm too tired to exercise. It instantly creates a little bit of distance. You're not the thought. You're the one noticing the thought. You're observing it, not fused with it.
Okay, one more huge piece of navigating the inner world, cultivating self-compassion. This feels really important.
It's essential. The source points out the evolutionary root of our inner critic, that self-criticism was actually adaptive once upon a time.
How so?
Well, if you survived a bear attack, you needed to analyze everything that went wrong, find fault, figure out how to do better next time to survive. Scanning for danger and problems kept our ancestors alive.
And that hardwiring often leads to that nagging "I'm not good enough" story, that critical passenger.
Exactly. You can't just switch it off. It's pretty deep-seated. But you can learn to disarm it.
And crucially, the source challenges the common myth that self-criticism is actually a good motivator.
It really does. Research, especially from Dr. Kristen Neff, who the source references a lot, shows the opposite. Self-compassion is actually more motivating. It's linked to better health, well-being, and importantly for this topic, persistence through mistakes and setbacks.
So what exactly is self-compassion, according to Neff?
It has three main components. First, self-kindness, being warm, gentle, and understanding toward yourself when you suffer or fail, rather than harshly critical. Second, common humanity, recognizing that suffering, failure, and imperfection are part of the shared human experience. Everyone struggles. You're not alone.
Okay, kindness and common humanity. What's the third?
Mindfulness, having a balanced, non-judgmental awareness of your painful thoughts and feelings. Not ignoring them, but not exaggerating them either. Just seeing them clearly. And it's not self-pity, it's not self-indulgence, and it's not self-esteem, which is often based on comparing yourself to others.
That study about the unsolvable math problem really highlights the persistence aspect.
Yeah, it's a great illustration. Participants who were given brief self-compassion instructions persisted significantly longer trying to solve the impossible task compared to other groups. Engaging in healthy behaviors is often a difficult, frustrating task. Self-compassion helps you stick with it when you inevitably stumble or make a mistake.
What are some practical ways to practice it?
The source offers several. You can ask yourself, what would a compassionate friend say to me right now? Or think of your best teacher. Not the one who yelled, but the one who encouraged you with kindness when you struggled. What would they say?
That's helpful.
Or you can actively imagine a compassionate figure drawing on work by church and colleagues, someone who embodies unconditional warmth, kindness, and acceptance. Could be a pet, a spiritual figure, a fictional character like Winnie the Pooh or Mary Poppins.
But maybe not a real-life partner or parent.
The source advises caution there.
Yeah.
Those relationships can be complex. The key is realizing this capacity for compassion exists within you. You're just bringing it forth, accessing it.
The author shares personal examples, like using it for guilt about her son's cavities, or when she made a mistake with a client appointment.
Right. Noticing the self-judgment flood in, and consciously choosing to offer herself kindness instead.
Is it common to feel resistant to self-compassion at first?
Totally normal. The source emphasizes that. It can feel awkward, unfamiliar, even undeserved initially. But it becomes less sticky, easier with practice. It's even vital for professionals, like healthcare providers dealing with medical errors. Self-compassion helps them process the mistake and be present for their next patient, rather than getting consumed by guilt. Give yourself a mental hug for mistakes, big or small. It's just part of being human.
And a really important warning from the source. Don't let knowing about self-compassion become a new stick to beat yourself up with.
Oh, definitely. Avoid that trap of thinking, okay, I know about self-compassion now. Why am I still struggling? I should be better at this. It still takes conscious effort and practice every time.
Okay, let's move into our third section, living a healthy life out in the world. This involves navigating our relationships and handling the inevitable reality of relapse.
Absolutely. Let's start with the power of connection. It's fundamental. The source explains our deep human need for it based on evolution.
Solitary confinement being one of the worst punishments.
Exactly. The utter helplessness of human babies needing that extended care the fourth trimester. Even social exclusion, feeling left out, registers in the brain similarly to physical pain. We are profoundly wired to connect.
Western culture often emphasizes independence, doesn't it?
It does, often contrasting with more collectivist cultures found in much of the world, which prioritize group harmony and interdependence. But the reality is we function better, we're more resilient, and frankly healthier when we have close, safe relationships.
The research cited is pretty compelling. Close relationships improve healing, recovery from illness, longevity.
Mental health, too. And quality matters more than quantity as we get older. Even just one close, secure relationship makes a huge difference. Fun fact the source mentions. Your friend's health habits are actually a pretty good predictor of your own.
Wow, so the people in our lives definitely impact our health behaviors. They can be supportive or they can undermine our efforts.
Which brings us directly to communicating your needs assertively.
Okay, break that down. How is assertive different from other style?
The source contrasts it with passive, not speaking up, aggressive, attacking or blaming, and passive-aggressive, indirect hostility. Assertive communication is framed as democracy. You clearly and directly express your feelings, opinions, and needs while respecting the other person's rights and perspective.
The key is you're stating your needs, not demanding or guaranteeing the other person's response.
Exactly. You control your behavior, how you communicate, not the other person's reaction.
So it's a difference between saying, hey, I've decided to really focus on my health goals right now, so I won't be able to make it to Rib Fest this year. Assertive.
Versus Ribfest. I can't believe you'd even ask me to go there knowing what I'm trying to do. Aggressive.
Changing those old communication patterns is hard, though. They feel ingrained.
They often are. Learned survival strategies from childhood, usually. Trying to change them can feel like hitting those internal rumble strips. It goes against deep instinct. Again, self-compassion is needed here. It's not your fault you learn these patterns, but it is your responsibility if you want to change them now.
And alongside learning to be assertive comes the wisdom of accept the things you cannot change.
Yes, you simply cannot control other people's behavior, choices, or responses, no matter how much your problem-solving brain wants to figure out the magic words or timing.
Maybe if I just explain it this way, or why are they acting like this?
Right. If you've stated your needs clearly and respectfully multiple times, and they aren't met, you'll likely need to accept that they can't or won't meet them. Accepting that frees up your energy.
So if you can't control them, how do you navigate relationships when they impact your health choices? This is where support comes in.
And the source uses that great, "is there someone in your boat?" metaphor. Truly supportive people don't just stand on the shore shouting instructions or offering simplistic, often unhelpful fixes.
It's like, oh, trying to quit smoking. Have you tried that new gum? Or just eat less.
Exactly. Instead, they get in the boat with you. They sit alongside you in your struggle or discomfort. They don't necessarily try to fix it, but their presence makes the pain more bearable simply because you feel less alone.
Getting in the boat often involves validation, right?
Yes, validating the person's experience. Saying things like, wow, I can understand why you feel so frustrated about your weight right now, or that medication sounds really rough. I get why you don't like taking it. You're validating their feeling or experience, not necessarily agreeing that their beliefs are objectively true.
And that often helps more than trying to argue them out of how they feel.
Oft, much more. It helps them feel heard and understood. But an important note the source makes. Not all relationships provide helpful support. Distressed, unstable, or unsafe relationships can actually make pain feel worse. You know that analogy of holding someone's hand making pain more bearable? That only works if the hand holder feels safe and supportive. You benefit from support primarily within secure, stable relationships.
Okay, this leads into making some strategic decisions about relationships or situations. Sometimes the best choice is to do nothing, or maybe even to leave. Do nothing sounds passive.
But it isn't, not necessarily. It can be a deliberate, values-aligned choice. The source gives the example of a nurse in a really toxic workplace.
Why would she stay?
She stays because the job provides crucial health benefits. She needs to care for her sick child. Her value of caring for her child outweighs the value of leaving the difficult job at this moment. She's making a conscious choice.
So she redirects her energy.
Exactly. To what matters most, her child, and what she can control, perhaps focusing on refueling activities outside of work to manage the stress.
What are refueling activities?
They're emotion-focused coping strategies that genuinely boost your energy and well-being, rather than just numbing you out. Things like spending time with supportive friends, engaging in a hobby you love, meditation, being in nature. This is different from zoning out with TV or endless scrolling, which can actually leave you feeling more drained. Find what refuels you.
You can also accept situations you can't easily leave, like certain family dynamics, right? But control your part.
Precisely. Control your contact and your response.
Yeah.
The client who limited visits with his critical father, or the client whose parents always brought cake, she started visiting them at their house instead of having them over, controlling the environment and the interaction on her terms.
And then there's the option to leave truly toxic relationships or environments.
Yes. This will definitely trigger those passenger rumble strips, that internal resistance trying to keep you on the familiar, even if painful, path. The devil you know.
So you need to be prepared for that discomfort.
Definitely. And ask yourself those key questions the source suggests. What value will I be expressing by leaving? How will this help me be the person I want to be? And crucially, how will I manage the inevitable discomfort that comes with making such a big change?
Okay, now let's talk about something the source is completely upfront and realistic about. Embracing relapse as human.
Yes, the message is clear. You will fall off the wagon, period.
It's not a question of if, but when, and maybe more importantly, how quickly you get back on. Life happens. Stress happens. Vacations happen.
The real danger isn't the lapse itself eating the cookie, skipping the workout. It's the all-or-nothing thinking that often follows. That passenger voice that screams, well, I blew it. Might as well eat the whole box, skip the whole week, give up entirely, and start fresh Monday or next month or never.
That's what turns a small lapse into a long relapse.
Exactly. The key is getting back on track quickly. Don't let a slip become a slide.
And trying to jump back on full force with 10 different resolutions at once, the source warns against that too.
Yeah, like the client John, who, after a lapse, wanted to immediately start counting every calorie, walking daily, meal prepping everything, meditating. It's just too overwhelming. A setup for failure.
So what's the alternative? How do you get back on kindly and effectively?
The source offers this wonderfully practical, compassionate, 8-step process. It's gold.
Okay, lay it out.
1, notice what happened, just the facts, without judgment. I ate the cake. 2, notice the self-critical judgment that almost inevitably pops up. I'm so weak, I have no willpower.
Okay, notice the lapse, notice the judgment.
3, respond to that judgment with curiosity from that observer perspective. Wow, look at my mind judging me right now. Interesting.
Yeah.
4, recognize you just acted like a normal human being. We evolved to prefer sugar, fat, rest, to eat when food is available.
So step 5 is?
Congratulate yourself for being a well-functioning human with normal biological drives. Seriously. 6, remind yourself everyone else does this too. It's part of common humanity.
Okay, self-kindness and common humanity creeping in.
Exactly. 7, actively respond with kindness and self-compassion. Give yourself that mental hug. Call up your compassionate figure. Tell yourself, it's okay, you're human, you made a mistake, let's get back on track.
And step 8, this feels crucial.
It is. Use your easy, healthy, smart goal. Remember, specific, measurable, achievable, like 90% achievable, relevant, time-bound, to get back on track immediately.
Immediately, not tomorrow, not Monday.
Right now, before you finish the bag of chips, right after dinner, before bed tonight. Make the next choice a healthy one, even if it's tiny. Go for that 10-minute walk, drink a glass of water, eat a piece of fruit.
And then you ease back into your routine with that same kindness, congratulating yourself for responding with compassion instead of beating yourself up.
Precisely. The source also calls out some common passenger tricks that try to sabotage getting back on track after a relapse.
Like what?
Oh, the classics. You blew it, you deserve a treat now. You don't have time to get back on track today, start tomorrow.
Yeah.
And the big one. Look how easy everyone else has it.
Ugh, that last one.
Yeah. Recognizing these thoughts as just passenger noise, just mental spam, is powerful. You can't stop the spam emails from arriving in your inbox, the source says, but you don't have to click the link.
And the source suggests finding alternative breaks, using the senses.
Right. Finding small, non-food ways to soothe yourself or shift your focus when cravings or difficult emotions hit. Listen to music, step outside for fresh air, hold something comforting, smell essential oils, savor a cup of tea. They might not be as instantly rewarding as the unhealthy habit, but they have zero long-term cost.
And that everyone else has it easy trick. It's just that, a trick.
Absolutely. It's simply not true for most people. The source uses Gisele Bündchen as an example. Even someone perceived as effortlessly healthy follows an incredibly strict regimen. Recognize that most people work hard at this stuff. The naturally thin, fit people who never struggle. They're the rare exception, not the rule.
Using present moment awareness can also help counter these tricks, right? Paying attention to the actual experience.
Yes. Observe the actual experience of doing the healthy habit, not just during, but before. What are the thoughts? And especially after. Focus on the feeling of pride or competence or energy you feel after you exercise, even if you dreaded it beforehand. Contrast that with the guilt or disappointment you feel after avoiding it.
And recognize the passenger thought, this sucks, it won't do any good, and just choose not to engage. Like the author's analogy with her son's bedtime tricks.
Exactly. See the trick? I hate exercise. Just one more episode won't hurt. And consciously choose not to fall for it this time.
Okay, finally, the source brings us to the importance of balancing health and life, finding that sweet spot.
Yeah. Acknowledging that sticking rigidly to health habits sometimes comes with real costs and trade-offs to your quality of life.
Questioning whether skipping every single holiday party or social event for the sake of perfect adherence or a specific weight number is truly serving your overall well-being and values.
The author's example of not insisting on her plant-based diet when visiting a friend's house is perfect.
Yeah.
She balanced her health behavior with the deeply important value of friendship and respecting her host's effort.
This leads beautifully into the concept of best weight. which the source highlights from Friedhoff and Sharma.
Right. It's not some arbitrary number on a chart. It's the weight you achieve while living the healthiest lifestyle you can truly enjoy and realistically sustain long term.
And this principle extends beyond weight to all healthy habits, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You don't always have to choose the absolute healthiest option in every single moment of your life. Sometimes the goal is choosing an option that is healthier than your old default, finding a balance that allows you to pursue your health goals while also living a life that truly matters to you.
The source directly tackles that false dilemma our passenger thoughts often create. This idea that it's either quality of life or healthy habits.
As if they're opposites. They're not. In fact, healthy habits are often the foundation for a richer, more meaningful, higher quality life. Dr. Rockwood's point on aging mentioned in the source is so powerful here.
Remind us.
Healthy living isn't just about adding years to your life, but adding quality life to your years. Ideally, allowing you to live fully and engage in what matters to you until maybe a more rapid decline at the very end, rather than decades of slow decline, maximizing the time spent living according to your values.
And let's circle back to why this is hard, even for people who are highly successful in other areas of their lives. Why do they still struggle with health habits?
Just to reiterate the key reasons the source lays out, it's our ancient cave person brain and our biological systems fighting against modern temptations. It's living in an environment saturated with triggers. It's industries designed to make substances like processed food or nicotine highly reinforcing. And it's all those factors largely outside individual controlled genetics, upbringing, culture, socioeconomic factors. It is objectively hard for everyone.
And knowing that isn't an excuse, but it is fuel for self-compassion.
Exactly. It's not another reason to feel like a failure. See, it's impossible. It's a reason to be kind to yourself during the struggle. You have these tools now, the ones we've discussed, but it will still require conscious effort.
The description prediction choice model from Bally's, mentioned near the end, feels like a helpful summary framework.
It is. Recognize the situation or your internal state. Description, I'm feeling stressed and craving chocolate. Predict the likely outcomes if you follow your automatic urge or passenger thoughts. Prediction, if I eat the whole bar, I'll feel guilty later. And then make a conscious choice aligned with your values using the skills we've talked about. Choice. I'll acknowledge the craving, maybe do 5 minutes of deep breathing, and then have the planned apple instead.
So the skills managing passengers, making space for feelings, linking to values, self-compassion, setting those achievable 90% goals, they give you more choice points, more opportunities to deliberately choose the healthier behavior, even when your instincts are screaming no.
Precisely. And the author's final point really resonates with me. Healthy living requires effort and willingness. She admits she still doesn't want to get up for boot camp at 5:30 a.m., even after years of doing it.
The feeling doesn't necessarily magically transform into desire.
No, you just build the willingness to act despite the feeling because it serves your values.
So, wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, the listener? We've taken a really deep dive into understanding why healthy habits often feel profoundly unnatural and difficult.
And hopefully shown it's not because you're lazy or flawed or lack willpower. It's deeply rooted in our evolutionary biology, the environment we live in, and that constant push and pull of our internal world, thoughts, feelings, instincts.
We've talked about shifting the focus away from weight as the sole, often uncontrollable outcome, and towards embracing health behaviors as the achievable goal, and amplifying that by connecting those behaviors to what genuinely matters most to you.
We've explored a whole toolkit of practical strategies for navigating your inner landscape, learning to observe those tricky thoughts and feelings, those passengers, without letting them dictate your actions, making space for discomfort, and cultivating self-compassion as a truly powerful fuel for persistence, especially when you make mistakes.
We also looked outward the importance of connection, learning to communicate assertively while also accepting you can't control others, finding genuine support that gets in the boat with you, and making strategic decisions about navigating difficult people or situations.
And critically, we face the reality of relapses head-on, learning not to fear them, but to anticipate them, and knowing how to use kindness, self-compassion, and those small, achievable goals to get back on track quickly, recognizing the common tricks your mind might play on you.
Ultimately, what we've seen is that healthy living isn't about achieving perfection or somehow magically always wanting to do the healthy thing. It's about building willingness.
It's about understanding your inner world, leaning on supportive connections, leveraging that frontal lobe, and making deliberate, values-driven choices, one small step at a time, even especially when it feels uncomfortable or unnatural.
So here's a final provocative thought for you to carry forward from this deep dive. If constantly striving for perfect health or an idealized weight is often a fight against our own biology and our environment.
Could acceptance, truly accepting the discomfort, accepting mistakes as human, accepting what you genuinely cannot control, actually be the ultimate healthy habit? The one that allows all the others to finally take root and flourish?